right, Bones. That's enough music, Bones. Hey, kill the rock and roll. All right. It's Lynn Dorman with Southern Fried Paranormal. We are live. We are hot. We are dressed in white. We are broadcasting live from down here by the bayou down in Arkansas, not southeast Louisiana, southwest Arkansas. Yes, there are bayous in Arkansas. In fact, the longest one in the world's here. Bartholomew Bayou. Anyway, tonight we will have Dan Norvell and Larry from Expedition Entity talking tonight about their show on Paranormal Network. We're seeing about some ounces of the show and what their show about they've been doing. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started here. By the way, if my internet is right, start with the show usual. It just picked up a notch and went back down a notch. Okay. Early on the first hour, I usually have some issues on the internet. So if I go out, just get the two guests to keep talking and I'll be back whenever I can. Well, that's the problems living out here in the country. Of course, there's other benefits. I got to scream. I got to stand in the middle of my front yard and scream at the neighbors across the street for them to hear me. So I cannot hear them. I can barely see them. Anyway, it's nice living out here in the woods, our little cabin. So let's just go ahead and get the show started. Bones, go ahead and play the intro.
Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman featuring Bones. Catch us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, Stream, and everywhere else you catch your podcasts. And of course, WLFE-DB.com. Now, from the backwoods of southeast Arkansas, right beside the Bayou Bartholomew, the longest bayou on the planet, broadcasting from downtown metropolitan Cane Creek Township, here is your host, Len Dorman.
Okay. Here we are, finally. That's the problem with slow internet. You push a button and it's 5 minutes before it comes back on. Anyway, like I said, we're down here by the Bartholomew Bayou, which used to be, by the way, just in case you're curious, used to be the path of the Arkansas River. Within about 5 miles of where the Arkansas used to, 20,000 years ago, flow into the Mississippi. Yes, I'm in kind of a double river valley in what used to be the valley of the Arkansas, although it changed its route 20,000 years ago, but still in the Mississippi Valley. Of course, it's changed its route a few times over the years. So there's a lot of deep area here. If I was talking to Dan earlier, I'm between 150 and 170 feet above sea level at this point, which is why it's a little bit warmer here. And it's warmer here than sometimes a little bit further south. I'm about the latitude of Atlanta, but Atlanta's at a higher latitude. They're kind of in the low-lying hills and the foothills of the Appalachian, and we're nobody's foothills. Although I do live on top of a hill, which is basically a mound. Anyway, let's bring in our guests tonight, Larry and Dan.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
How are y'all?
We're good, Lon. How are you?
I will warn you, I'm still getting slow internet. I'm just great. If I go away, fade out because the internet faded out on me, just keep talking. Just keep on talking about whatever you're talking about. I'll be back sooner or later.
Keep on keeping on.
So, That's it. What have you two been up to lately?
Go ahead, Dan.
We have been busy, Len. We're starting to shoot season 3
Mhm.
of Expedition Entity, and actually, episode 1's already been released, Broadhead Manor, and it was probably one of the most terrifying episodes we've shot.
Actually, as of tonight, we have our very first film festival selection for the trailer for that episode too. So I just got
Nice.
the email today.
I did not know that. So
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to tell you because you weren't home all day. So yeah, our very first film festival for season 3, we got it for the trailer I put in for, and it was selected.
nice. So, yeah, we've been.
Larry, while you're talking about, don't mean to interrupt Dan,
No,
but Larry, if you have a short video, something you want to show, if you look down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a square called Present.
Mm-hmm.
You can load up a short video there and show it to everybody if you are.
Okay. I'll look for a couple things while Dan's talking.
sure.
Okay.
Show them that
All right.
trailer.
Yeah, I'll put the trailer in.
If you want to show the trailer, StreamYard has that capability. Dan,
Nice.
where?
So, we've already shot Broadhead, of course, and it's out. We've actually already shot another episode for season 3, which we're kind of keeping that one under wraps. We're shooting an episode this Saturday at an outdoor location, which it just got real cold and snowy around here, so it's not going to be real super fun. But we'll make do. I mean, the ghosts still haunt when it's snowy and cold out too. So
Sadly.
we've got tomorrow night we're going up to Freeport, Illinois, with our friend Doreen, and we're going to. We've been invited to participate in a kind of a meet and greet / investigation up there, and Larry and I are just going to be there to talk to people. And then, of course, it was cool to be able to do your show tonight, Len. Last time you and I did your show, we had a hoot. We had a nice long talk about stuff, and we got a lot of stuff coming up. We're trying to put the finishing touches on a documentary that we shot with Miranda Young, and we've got some more documentaries in the pipeline as well as Expedition Entity. So we got a lot of stuff going on, and between me working full time and Larry teaching and going to school full time for his master's degree and stuff, it leaves little time for much else.
Yeah,
it really does. So, Larry, you
I
got
can
that?
understand going to the school about in work.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm a full-time corrections officer, and Illinois is in a lot of turmoil with what's going to happen in corrections and stuff, and it's been stressful on us all. But I'm hanging in there. I'm going to stay there until either retirement comes or they tell me to leave,
or until I produce something that'll get you out of there.
Okay.
I might. We'll see. You never know.
We can only hope.
But I did load that teaser or the
Dan,
trailer.
how much longer have you got before retirement?
I will have 17 years. I'll have 17
Larry,
years. Then, go ahead.
I think there's like a 5-second delay or 10-second delay.
Is there?
I think so.
Okay. To answer your question, Len, I've got about just under 3.5 years until I can retire. So I'll have my 20 in, and
Okay.
I'm not going much past that.
Then you're going to be like I am. Yeah.
I'll probably work somewhere else unless
you be like I am. The wife.
Yeah, I'll probably do something else unless Larry and I are so busy all the time that it's generating enough to where I don't have to worry about it.
I'll keep you busy. Don't worry.
Well, that's what we're hoping. But this year is going to be a big year for us.
Larry, that sounds like a challenge.
You know, if Dan lets loose the leash a little bit, I could have us doing something every month. But the only way he's going to be able to do that is if he leaves his job. So right now I'm pulled back a little bit, but first opportunity I get, I'll keep him busy every day of the week. I got stuff. Don't worry.
Well, and I mean, we've done other stuff too, Len. It's not all paranormal. There you go.
So I enjoy retirement. The wife, she had surgery last year. She had 3 vertebrae in her lower back fused last spring. So she is now retired, and the two and I love it. We go to town maybe twice a week at most. Sometimes we don't go. We don't have to. And we just sit here in our little cabin in the woods and enjoy the view.
Well, I'm hoping that Larry and I can drive the Great River Road all the way down to by where you're at. So that might be what we do for his. That might be what we do for his graduation present.
We're going on vacation.
Yeah, we're gonna stop. Our last stop will be in New Orleans, and we're gonna party in Bourbon Street.
Woo! Sounds good to me.
Sounds really good to me.
Hey, all you need is a couple of canoes. Get you a couple of canoes and come down the big muddy Ottaway to NOLA, and I'll buy you a drink at Lafitte's Blacksmith Bar. How's that for an offer?
Hey,
hell, we'll buy you a drink.
We can buy each other's drinks.
Hell yeah. Sounds good to me, Len.
Had that purple drink. It's like a grape, like when you go to 7-Eleven and you get the icy drink,
yeah,
from 7-Eleven, the strong grape, except the Lafitte's Blacksmith Bar, the icy has a lot of rum in it.
I'll get down on that. I'm okay with rum.
Oh yeah. Sounds good to me.
I'll do that.
I'm more of a vodka person, but rum will suffice.
I don't discriminate
here.
So, Larry, you got your video loaded?
Yeah.
Larry, we got 2 videos popped up here.
Yep.
So what? Yeah, we'll
got something called Thermal Revisited.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's start with the trailer.
Did you want a trailer before I play it?
For the trailer, that's just our latest episode. It's the one that we're going to be using for season 3 here as our festival episode. So every festival we enter into, Indie Film Festival, is going to be this episode or the trailer. Dan and I have been investigating now for just about 13 years. And this one definitely makes the top 5 for the most intense. Easily. Yes. And we had our new cast member, Jenny Gill, and Jenny Davis as a guest investigator. The two of them worked very well together, but unfortunately, the two of them were also the ones getting the brunt of the activity that night. Which, for me, being behind the camera, it was great. For them, not so much. But yeah, so let's go ahead and play the trailer.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do this.
we decided, since we couldn't open the haunted house for the past 2 years, that we would change the second floor.
It's very cold over here. Is that you?
Yes.
Now, the other paranormal groups that come in are now experiencing different things getting stirred up, different things getting moved.
That was the principal.
Maybe he just likes a lot of control and a lot of order.
Throughout the different boxes and stuff, he wants to be called Sir.
And I think I'm gonna pass out.
They have her leave.
Don't fall, Jen.
I'm trying not to. Let me grab me.
Quit affecting my team members.
I'm so lightheaded right now.
Okay, I gotta get out of here.
All right, yes, go, Jenny.
Just said yes.
All
I
right.
feel like I'm gonna vomit.
I needed to tell you guys that, and then I had to get the f out of there because I was getting dizzy, and then I was like uncomfortable. It was almost like somebody was trying to like get inside of me, if that makes sense. And I'm genuinely scared. I'm shaking, and and I know she was. I could feel that radiating off of her.
It was quite the investigation.
It really was.
And the cool thing is it was only the second floor. So we still have a whole nother floor of the building we have yet to explore and do an episode on. And then we'll have covered the entire building with Expedition Entity.
Yeah. Broadhead Manor is something else.
That was an intense trailer.
It's one of my favorite. I've done a few for Expedition Entity. This one is my favorite. Just because, having Bill as the person we interviewed, the things that he said were just great. The way that he talks about his building and he talked about the principal earlier in the day, and he said all this stuff that directly tied to what happened in the investigation. So it was super easy to put them together and be like, go back and forth. And then, what happened with Jenny and Jenny, they were feeling so much because of what the principal was doing to them. And, the little bits in the trailer there, that's nothing. That's just the little tiny 10 seconds that you saw. This happened all night for them. So,
yeah.
Wow.
It was quite the night for them. Yeah, it's quite the night for us too.
Yeah, it really was.
Okay. Dan, can you tell us the cast members and how they're blending in with the rest of your team?
Jenny and Laura joined us this year, and we're very happy to have them. And the first time anybody saw them with us was season 2, and that was at the Hanging Bride Bridge, and they were both guest investigators. And after we shot that episode, we then made the announcements that, hey, Jenny and Laura are going to be part of Expedition Entity from here on out, and you'll see them at the premiere of season 3. Life happens, and Laura has not been able to come to. She wasn't able to come to the Broadhead episode. Just we all have different situations in our life, and she has little ones, and her job is about as demanding as mine. And sometimes she gets told to work, just like me, and all of our plans get backdoored. So, unfortunately, with some of the locations, when Larry and I schedule them, we schedule mostly around mine and his schedules, because we both have to be there no matter what. And pretty much, Len, the first full season of Expedition Entity was Larry and I, and that was it.
Yeah, first episode had Steve. And then
the first episode had Steve
and I,
and then the rest of it was just Larry and I, and we shot that whole season. And there's there's some backstory to all of it that I'm not going to even bother going into. But basically, we had to reshoot 5 episodes because we had the whole season ready to go, and it didn't work out. But you know what? Things happen for a reason, and I'm really, at the time, Larry and I were not real happy with the situation. But I got to say, Natalie Jones, who's the CEO of Paraflix, is one of the nicest people that I've ever met in my life. She said, "Guys, don't worry about it. We'll work it out," and we did. And I'm looking back, I'm glad things happened the way they did because I think it made it all the better anyway. So after that, season 2 just got better. We had Steve come back with us, and it was pretty much Larry and Steve and I, hitting all these places, finishing up. We did have a couple guest investigators, Michelle and Megan.
Steve Bartel.
At the Vets Hall. We had Steve Bartel at Sledgehammers with us. Mm-hmm. We had the manager of the Oregon Public Library and my daughter join us for the public library investigation, which was very surprising to Larry. I told him the minute we walked in there, I said, "Yeah, we're going to get stuff." And he goes, "I'm not too sure," but we did.
It was a public library. Like, in terms of awesome locations, it's like prison, hospital, insane asylum, institution. Where's public library in that list? You'd think it'd be pretty low, but it was a great investigation. I got to give it to Dan. He did.
Lo and behold, it produced stuff, and I was pleasantly. Larry was pleasantly surprised, and it was pleasant for me to know I was right. So, it worked out. And then, of course, Jen and Laura joined us for the Hanging Bride Bridge,
which I did put a video clip that Len can play from that.
Yeah. And that was probably one of the most intense investigations for me. I'm not psychic or sensitive or anything, Len. I mean, I am a bit empathic, but I have to tell you, I took a beating that night. And if Larry's got that clip pulled up, you can show it because that was probably the most intense investigation I've ever had for me personally.
For you, yeah.
So, yeah, it.
Okay.
I think.
Larry, which clip is it?
The second one that says Jen and Laura.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about the thermal after it.
Anything you want to say? Anything else you want to say about it?
I'll let you guys watch it, and then I'll let you know what happened afterwards.
Anything else you want to say?
So for this investigation,
right. Let's go ahead and do that.
We were only on site for about an hour.
Yeah.
And this video will explain why.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hit it.
Okay, I am done.
Yeah,
I can't do this anymore.
That was very overwhelming. I did too.
Yeah,
I don't get scared.
There's stuff
ever.
moving around.
No.
But this creeped me out genuinely. In the 12 years that I've been doing this constructively, this is the most unnerved I've ever been. I feel you.
And I need to get the hell out of here.
I agree.
So we're out.
Just a short little teaser, but that was when at the end of the investigation, Dan's like, "That's it, we're done, we're out." So you can go ahead and tell him what led to that, Dan.
So the first half of the episode, Larry and I actually went there last year when we got back from Springfield. And we went out there because we had done a few things around the Hanging Bride Bridge, but not a lot. And I just knew that we'd never tried dowsing rods there before, and I knew if we took dowsing rods there, we were going to get a lot of interaction. And lo and behold, we did. So we decided a year later to return with Steve, and Jen and Laura asked them along. And it definitely did not disappoint. Now, we did once again make contact with the hanging bride. We did get her name, and something happened to me in the episode that's never happened before. And it really it really it was really unnerving for me. It was like whatever she felt all dumped into me at one time, and I could actually feel, when it wasn't so much the depression or whatever she must have been feeling to get her to, tie the noose and complete the deed, but it was the emptiness and the finality, and the this is it, I'm done. It was like standing on the edge of the darkest void you could possibly think of, and making that choice to jump into it. And all of that just spilled into me, and it was not pleasant. Not at all. And you can see my reaction in that episode.
Yeah, this was towards the end. Dan's initial reaction is probably about 2/3 of the way through the episode.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of muscles through it. But then by the end, he's just like, that's it. I'm done. I am done.
Yep. I couldn't take anymore.
So that was Jen and Laura and Steve.
Okay. Okay. You put in there, and you're saying this is not even the worst part.
No. Well, it's not the most intense part. This is the aftermath of Dan just trying to push through and get the investigation done. The most intense part where Dan actually gets his authentic reaction, that's in the episode. We don't have a teaser for that. If you want to see it, you got to watch it.
Yeah, you got to go to Paraflix and sign up and watch it.
The perfect promo.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Dan, since you brought that up, how do you go about getting a subscription to Parax?
I'm sorry, Len. How do I go about getting a what?
Subscription to Paraflix.
A subscription.
A subscription to your network.
Okay.
Paraflix.
You go to www.paraflix.com and you can sign up for the service with your email and a password. And Paraflix costs $3.99 a month, but the first 3 days are free. And if you don't like it after the first 3 days, no harm, no foul. You don't have to pay. But there's so many good shows on there. Ghost Finders is on there with Rob Thompson. They have a lot of new shows. Mm-hmm. Our friend Nick Sarlo's got a show on there called Shadow Hunters.
Brandon's got his show.
Yeah, Brandon's got his show. Visually Creeped from Wisconsin. He's kind of an urban explorer / ghost hunter.
Jen made an appearance on there, I think, twice.
Jen's been on there with him twice, but we're going to try to get him on something with us here come spring or summer. And, there's so many good shows on there, Len. I mean, it's, it really is the Netflix of the paranormal. I would say the two leading places to see paranormal shows right now are Travel Channel and Paraflix. And I, for one, I'm not going to speak for Larry, but I, for one, feel blessed. And, Paraflix, it really is like a family. Larry and I have been treated excellent there. Like I said, Natalie Jones is one of the nicest ladies I've ever met. Her partner, Patty Negree. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Patty is so nice. Mike Hatcher's been awesome with us. everybody we've ever met from Paraflix has just been top notch. I really feel blessed to be part of it.
Yep.
So I just where does it, if you get a subscription, is this strictly a computer streaming service?
No, Paraflix is available on Fire TV, on Apple TV, and on Roku. So you can watch and stream right to your TV. And I'm here to tell you, it looks beautiful on 4K, 55-inch TV. Paraflix.
There's also mobile apps and then the website.
Yeah, there are mobile apps and then the website you can watch it on as well.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Oh man. So I'm just trying to get everybody informed of where they can get.
Absolutely.
They can get this, where they can see it. You're talking about the network and how good the people are. People need to know about this, and people need to be watching.
Well, there's a lot of great things about Paraflix, other than the fact that it's a paranormal network, and that's, whenever you think of Travel Channel, A&E, the big production companies, you always assume that they're going to tell you that you got to fake evidence, that you have to do this, you have to cause fights with your team, because that's the drama that's happened in the past. So those are the types of things where you're like, man, are they going to make me pretend something was there when it wasn't there? Paraflix isn't like that.
No.
What you make is what they put out. You have creative control to say, this is what I want to do. If it's, you sitting in the dark for 2 hours trying to talk to a spirit, nothing happens. If that's what you want, they'll put it out. But, they're not expecting you to like, well, we need you to put in a couple fake EVPs. They don't do that. They don't tell you, well, you and Dan have been friends for so long, we need you to start fighting on camera. They don't do that. It's one of the best places to go if you truly care about not only the investigations, but the production side of it, because they don't shackle you down. They don't, interrupt your creative freedom.
I see. So this would be a fabulous paranormal show. I can see why you like it.
It's the best.
Yeah,
it's the best.
I can't say enough about Paraflix.
Right.
And when we got to meet Natalie and Patty and Rob and Nick and all those guys, and then do a special investigation at Broadhead with them and many of the other people that were at the Janesville conference, that was kind of like the icing of the cake. So, and I can't wait to see all those people in April when they all come back to the Spirits of the Spring conference at Broadhead. And it's going to be great to see Natalie and Patty. And, it's going to be great to hang out with Nick again and the members of his team, Sharon, Greg, and all the rest of them. I'm really looking forward. This is going to be a big year for conferences for Larry and I. And I can't wait.
Okay, Dan, you mentioned something there, conferences. Can you expand on that a little bit and tell us what conferences you're going to be at, where they are, and the dates, please?
So in April, I believe it's April 22nd off the top of my head, we will be speaking and having a booth at the Spirits of the Spring conference at Broadhead Manor in Broadhead, Wisconsin. The whole conference is sponsored by Paraflix, and it's just a great location, great people. And then some other friends of ours that aren't on Paraflix are also going to be there. I know Ursula Bielski from Chicago is going to be there. Our good friends Chad and Travis from GRAG, Greater Rockford Apparition and Ghost Group, that have their show Mission Terror. They're going to be presenting there. There's a lot of people that are going to be there. Our real good friends Steve and Josiah are going to be there from Conover Square. And we're looking forward to meet a lot of people and see old friends and meet new friends. The next one will be now Larry's going to 5 conferences so far. I can only make 3 of them because my job just won't allow.
Actually, before you talk about the
Wow.
next one,
Sure.
I have, if I can find it here real quick, the intro for the Broadhead special.
Yeah.
And that'll give people kind of an idea of what the Broadhead special was like when Paraflix came to visit, and then you'll get a little bit more of a view of the building. I think it's this one. And then
Okay.
I'm gonna call it Broadhead so you know which one it is. And then that's the teaser for the Broadhead documentary that we did.
Okay.
So what's interesting
For
about
the
that, Lynn,
conference,
is
do what?
what I was going to say about the Broadhead trailer that Larry sent you is what's interesting about that is there's about 7 different cameras that we pulled footage off of.
Yeah.
Very small amount of footage other than the B-roll, and some of the footage of Rob Thompson was ours. It was all from everybody else. And they all did a really good job.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I appear in it once.
I only appear in it twice and not for very long.
Yeah, it focuses on everybody else but us.
We really wanted to focus on everyone else.
Right.
Okay. Larry, what I was going to say, if you wanted to put together a little promo video for this conference in April, put something together 30, 40 seconds long and send it to me, via email or messenger. And I'll put it up during my halftime, which we'll be having in about 20 minutes. And I'll do some advertising for it.
Sure.
Something that says where Broadhead is and how to get tickets, where it's going to be, etc. Stuff like that.
Nick's already done
I'll air that for you free of charge.
Oh, thank
Pardon
you.
me.
I'll see what I can put together here while Dan continues to talk.
So, do you want to show that video first, Larry, or you want me to finish talking about it?
Let's
it doesn't have to
show
be
the video.
now, but
Yeah, whatever you
All
guys
right.
want to do. Otherwise,
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There's something very evil on these white grounds.
It's not happy, and there's going to be repercussions for this, I feel.
That was a really fun night.
That was a very fun night.
Yeah.
The problem was there was 30 people there, and as I'm editing this, like I don't know everybody's voices. So after trying to figure out what every single voice was, finally after a while, I'm just like, unknown voice. I'm done. I don't care anymore. Unknown voice, done. So too many people, not enough microphones. I can't do it.
But you can see that episode on Paraflix, and
Yes.
and you can see there's kind of a little bit of a extra bonus short on there where our friend Michaela got pushed down the steps, and she talks about what happened. Her and Natalie actually, and it was pretty terrifying for her.
Yeah, that was another one that we ended up making.
Wow.
which that video is uploading right now. So it's the
Oh, you're
second
going to play
video.
that whole video?
It's only 2 minutes long. It's really short, actually. It was a short when we uploaded it to Paraflix.
Okay. You want to go ahead and show it now?
Sure. I'm still poking around trying to find that video for the conference this year.
Okay. Yeah, don't put it in here unless I could show it. Go ahead and show it in here. But be sure to send it to me. I think probably email says at gmail.com, or you just send it by messenger.
Sure.
And I can. All right, let's go ahead and air this video.
I'm going to turn off some lights here and I'll follow you guys right up. Okay. Something just pushed you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Probably.
I've never experienced that in my life until just now.
Okay, so what is absolutely wild was I
There's
picked up
Natalie.
on someone being pushed
Uh-huh.
literally 2 minutes ago.
I thought I
My
literally
hair's
was about
been
to be like,
being
oh
tugged all
sorry,
night,
like somebody
so-
was behind
Are
me
you
because
okay?
yeah, I'm a little freaked out.
Hold on.
Because I was like, oh
So have
sorry,
you been
like
touched before at all?
I've never, nothing has
Okay.
ever pushed me, touched me, anything, and I literally went to turn around and be like, oh sorry, I'm in your way, somebody was coming down the stairs behind me, and I looked and no one was there, and I'm like, shit,
Yeah, I was
nobody's
already-
behind me.
I was already down here and I was
Where was the sensation of
Right,
push?
right, literally,
Like the
like,
small of your back.
the part where I
Right
can't
here?
touch, yeah, right
Yeah,
there, right
small.
there, I was like, oh, like, I'm in somebody's way, like, they're trying to get past me, and I was like, there's nobody fucking there.
Oh,
Sorry,
wow,
sorry,
okay.
excuse my language.
Let's walk down.
Wow,
to-
thank
to
you
sturdy ground.
so
You're
much.
welcome.
Yeah, because it's
Wow.
like I felt, I don't know, somebody was behind
I'm
me.
just,
like, oh.
I'm
Oh,
really
yeah.
just reeling on what I just,
Yeah.
like I just
Yeah.
saw that,
Oh my
a
gosh.
couple of minutes ago.
That was weird. I've never.
Do you think that whatever was in there could have like followed us?
Yes.
I hope that I don't know.
Maybe it's mad at me because I'm like, well, my EMF's not picking
Well,
up.
you
Well,
were-
you were
down there
the
looking
last
in
one
here.
down there.
Yeah.
I honestly,
We can
I'm
stop
like,
it now.
I'm just tracing the course of events here.
Probably followed. No, that was me.
And
I was like, are you okay?
okay, so I'm gonna spend a minute right here. I need you right now
Yeah.
to just go ahead and utilize your free will and your intention and speak that it is not to follow you or attach to you in any way. And then I'm gonna stay back a bit. I'm gonna go back there
Okay.
and let it stay.
Okay.
And I'm gonna,
So go ahead and do that.
I'm gonna tell you, it was most likely a grouchy maintenance man. So.
It felt like a tall guy
Yeah.
behind me. I literally thought it was like Nate coming behind
So,
me. And I
right.
was like, sorry.
let me
I'm
just
like,
tell you, she's gonna take care of it. He was doing his job, and he wants to only do his job. So we were in his area. So.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
So I'm
I
sorry.
got you.
Thank you.
There were a lot of psychics that night, and they were picking up on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
But Michaela works with Park City Paranormal up in northern Wisconsin, and she had never experienced anything like that. So it was unnerving for her, and rightfully so. And yeah, so that's pretty much her raw reaction after it all happened. I mean, it literally just happened, and we all kind of went running in there and were able to, now Larry and I, that wasn't our footage, but we literally couldn't get in there. It's like Michaela got pushed and like 30 people I went, and so, thankfully she was okay, and, no harm done, but it could have went the other way had she not, had her wits about her. And, thankfully it was a terrifying, but, good outcome all the same. So.
We can say that no investigators were injured during this filming.
No, nobody was injured.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Nope.
Okay. So we got to keep that down. Don't want anybody getting hurt.
Now
she was
another
definitely surprised. That was all over her face, the way she was moving.
Oh yeah.
Things she was saying. She was really surprised about that.
Now, you know, there's another place that we got to go during season 2, and I actually got punched and scratched, and the guy who manages the Egyptian Theater in DeKalb, Illinois, got scratched as well, and
yes, he did.
And the security cameras that are all throughout the Egyptian that are infrared actually caught his reaction to being touched and scratched, and it was about as raw of a reaction as you could get. And we interviewed him in the episode, and he thought back and was very candid about it. And Alex is the kind of guy who he doesn't scare easily, and he was put off by it pretty hard.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have a teaser for that, so you have to watch that in the episode.
You have to see that in the episode.
Okay. On this thermal visit video you got down here, Larry, is there anything you want to say about that one before we play it?
So this is us revisiting a location that we caught a thermal anomaly. And the video is kind of broken up into multiple parts, which once you turn it on, you'll see what I mean. But we basically had Dan walk the path that we think the thermal anomaly took the night we recorded it, which was about 2 weeks beforehand, to see if we could get it to match up. And it almost matched up perfectly, but you can see the visual difference between Dan and this anomaly, and the fact that there's no way the anomaly could be a person, because it doesn't look like Dan. So I can explain a little bit more after it plays, though.
Okay. All right. No other comments? We'll go to video.
I'm going to try my best to move as quickly as Dan did that night, and we're going to see if he can move as quickly as whatever that was. Ready? And then Dan's going to record me and hopefully not fall. Ready? Go ahead. So he's moving. I'm Ghost Hunter Dan freaking out. Oh my God, Larry, it's moving. So right now, Dan's he's keeping up pretty fast. So here we are at the same spot. Dan's leaning over. But if you see Dan, Dan's black. And you notice Dan is much taller than what we caught was. Dan is actually probably about a foot or two taller. So based off of this, just looking at the thermal, cars, it's very windy today, if you can't tell. Looking at the thermal, looking at the way the movement happened and everything, what's the thermal here? We're under the conclusion that it can't be a person because it was bright white. And in that same setting that we had for the thermal, Dan was black because that's the temperature. It's dark. Well, I guess I already explained it. Yeah, so the anomaly was white, and it was 60-ish degrees on a July evening where all the stones around it were like 90. And then the very next, week or two later, when we went back out there, you could see Dan was very black because he has a hotter body temperature, and they looked nothing alike. So unless it was a Ninja Turtle with a colder body temperature, it could have been a spirit.
Yeah, because both of those videos were shot in July.
Right.
So it was pretty warm out.
Yes. Okay. That is interesting. It's either spirit or an Eskimo midget.
Yeah, right. It was definitely shorter than Dan. So, you know, don't know. We did send it to Real or Faked from Paranormal Warehouse with Mike and Chris, and they both concluded that it was real. So, a lot of people have seen that show, and they're like, we saw that. We saw the thermal. That was wild. Yeah. Imagine being there when it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I tried to go talk to it.
You did.
All right. I'll go ahead to a lifetime right here. And then we second half. Well, we will go as long as you want to go tonight. So, whenever, I don't know if y'all got to get up in the morning or not. Well, just a quick break right here. Oh, if you want to say anything, I won't keep the windows open. If you wanted to say anything about what I'm about, y'all can go ahead and chime in. There's just a couple of other events that I'm going to be this year.
Sure.
The Gypsy Soul Holistic Fair. This one is at October 29th and 30th. Gypsy Soul Holistic Fair has several events in Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. In April, they have not announced the exact dates. They will be having the annual Gypsy Soul Holistic Fair in Hot Springs, Arkansas, which is not too far from here, at a very haunted hotel. Phoenix Jansen, who helps out with Gypsy Soul Holistic Fair, and I will be staying in a haunted hotel. So you know what happens when you get two paranormal investigators in a haunted hotel. That means no sleep. So we'll be at the Gypsy Soul Holistic Fair on the floor at a table during the day, and you'll see us walk around the haunted hotel, probably outside. If you're staying in a room there, you'll in the night in the hallways doing some investigating. So I'm hoping we can find something there. An extremely haunted, very old inn downtown. Now something else. I'm also working Jansen. By the way, and she's been a guest here a couple of times and will be again. Is of course the Fearfest Paracon this coming October, and yes, be there. Phoenix Jansen is the committee chairwoman. If y'all want to come, get your canoes and come on down to New Orleans in October. The wife and I will be there. New Orleans is one of the wife's favorite destinations. So we're going to go down there in October and have a good time in October in New Orleans at the Fear Fest. Several of Southern shows, podcasts, will be there along with some horror things. You can see some of the shows here. The Paranormal Swap Investigation, they have a very interesting podcast. Phoenix Rising is, of course, Phoenix Podcast group. Parapost. Parallax is one of the bigger sponsors. And like I said, Phoenix Jansen is the chairwoman of this event. I will be at a table at this event. Of course, I'll be doing some investigations because I'm not sure. They're not sure exactly where the event's going to be at. I will be announcing that at a later date and an exact date in October. It'll be on Halloween, probably maybe before. I'm not sure. They've not quite got all that together yet. But again, this is January down there, and I'm going to be investigating down. So that is going to be a lot of fun. So if in October, get your canoes ready and come on paddle down New Orleans.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It's both of them are going to be a lot of fun because you get me and a location with other paranormal investigators. Fun things are going to happen. And of course, both events I'll be doing podcasts live from the floor, and maybe for the first time trying to do an investigation live, something I've never attempted before. Larry, you can tell me how complicated that is to sit there on a podcast live and walking through a haunted location with a hot camera in your hand.
Yeah,
it's not bad. Depends what you're going live with, what you're using for service, what the building's made out of, what kind of service the building gets, whether you have Wi-Fi or not, whether the Wi-Fi drops in certain spots. There's a lot to think about. Battery.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Been there, done that.
So that's what I'll be doing. It should be an adventure.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So
if y'all want to come down, that'd be a good time to come to NOLA in October. I'll let y'all know what date that's going to be, along with everybody else.
I would love to come down to New Orleans.
I would too, but I feel like our October is already booked.
Our October's pretty solid.
But I can't remember what it was off the top of my head right now.
Yeah.
I know every weekend September's booked, and then we've got stuff in October too because September booked up.
Yeah, we've got
which we could talk about that after your break if you need to take one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was the break.
Oh, okay.
Well, then I'll tell you what, Larry, let me finish telling them about what I'm going to be at with you, and then you can tell them about the ones that you're going to without me.
Is there a way to upload an image onto StreamYard? I can't seem to find a way to do it.
Well, while he's looking for the image.
Well, actually, I can share my screen while you talk, Dan.
I don't think there is. Yeah, go ahead and share screen. They've got that.
Yeah. But anyway, Larry and I are going to be
okay. Did it work? Can you see it?
Your screen hasn't shared yet, Larry.
There it is. There we go. Go ahead, Dan.
We'll be at Michigan Paracon. And Jen and Larry and I will be there all 3 days. Then Larry is going to Silicon, and that will be down by Ashmore Estates. And I think you guys are going to Ashmore Estates for that.
It's in the works, but hopefully it pans out. Yes.
Yep. And then Larry and I and Jen will all three be at the Great Lakes Paranormal Conference, and Larry and I will be presenting.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait for that one. And then we're going to have something a little special happen there, but we can't talk about it yet. And then on September 29th through 30th, Larry will be out in Fort Wayne, Indiana at the Fort Wayne Paracon. And
I'll be presenting at that one.
He'll be presenting at that one. I could not get the time off. But he'll be presenting at that one. And there's something a little special going to happen there as well. So, but we can't really talk about them until they get closer. So, but Larry's going to be at 5 of them. All
Let's
5
just
of them.
say some of those special things that are going to happen involve buying tickets for the Afro conference stuff.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
So we've got a big 2023 coming up, and
Right. Now, when Kathy Kressel, who does Haunted Rockford, she has a conference. When she announces her date, we'll make that, so that'll be a 6th conference. Dale Kaczmarek, if he does his conference again, which last year it seemed like it was pretty successful. If he does his again, we'll probably do that one again, so that'll be 7.
That was in Thornton, Illinois, at the Thornton Distillery, and we had a blast.
It was a great time.
It was a good time.
Great time. So it's a busy year.
Now this past year, I had Dale on as a guest. I think a week or two before that conference, and he talked a lot about it. I also tried to do some advertising for it. Larry, these pictures, like you send them to me. We're already talking via Facebook Messenger. Just go ahead and send any photos you want, advertising events you're going to, and
Sure.
I can download the photo off of Messenger, and on future shows, I can go ahead and advertise those events for you. And
we appreciate it.
Them. Let's even stir up some interest in going to these cons, because if people really want to study the paranormal, rather than sitting there and watching, certain shows that are going mentioned on broadcast TV, go to these cons, and instead of hurting ours, go around some of the smaller networks like Paraflix and some of the groups like the two gentlemen right here, Larry and Dan, and talk about some real experiences that really happen at real locations. And you'll get to know the paranormal a lot better than you know it now. Because the two people have a lot of interest in the paranormal.
We've been around for a while.
I've been doing this since 1996, so I know there's a lot of people out there who've even been doing it longer than me. But Larry and I have been working together at this for the last 13 years, and it's not always been fun, and it's not always been glamorous, but
and it's never been easy.
It's never been easy, but it's always been, Larry and I, we darn near just came close to saying, heck with it all. And we had a long talk one night, and we live by 3 words now, Len, and that is stay the course. And that's what we're doing. We're staying the course. So,
I was realizing the other day, I had a memory pop up on Facebook. We're all familiar with that, where they throw a memory up. And it was a memory of with some of the first stuff I posted from the paranormal. And it was from 15 years ago. And I said, my God, have I been in the paranormal for 15 years since I started doing this? How time flies. I've got a lot more gray hair than I did those. The videos are a little bit sturdier. The camera work and the narration's got it. But the hair is definitely getting whiter. And so's the beard.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Len. When I started, I was a memory popped up when I first started Small Town Paranormal, and my mustache was still black. I had dark hair here, and I definitely had more hair. Now it's just gone.
Hey,
God.
Len, can I go and screen share again?
It just turned white.
Can you pop that on the screen? Can you pop this on the screen?
Yeah, so let's see what we got.
This is the night that Dan and I met.
Yeah.
2010 is March 6th. March 6th or 7th. And that was about 13 years ago, just about.
Yeah. It was me and Marcia.
Yeah. So there's a throwback picture, a picture from our Facebook memories.
You know, I was still a firefighter then as well, because that's the firefighter shirt I always used to wear.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Miss Marcia and I.
That was before I convinced him to grow the mustache out.
I still cut it off every now and again.
I know you shouldn't.
I gotta have a little change every now and then.
No, hey, you look better with the mustache.
I'm gonna wear a goatee tomorrow night.
You should.
So, a couple different things that we have that we're trying to help. Because coming into season 3, Larry and I, came to the shocking realization that Expedition Entity costs us a lot of money to film.
Oh.
So we've started a Patreon, and we just put it live the other night, finally.
Patreon.com/Expedition Entity.
Yep. And there's 5 tiers on there of whatever subscribers want. And we understand it's tough times. And, just understand, coming back from us, every little bit helps. But on our Patreon, you will get exclusive content that you will see nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You'll get Larry and I are going to shoot some commentary videos of experiences we've had. And, we could do that stuff on Instagram and TikTok and stuff and put it out there. But I'd rather, if you're going to sacrifice any money at any 3 or any 5 of those tiers, I would rather have it go there. And I know that, that will help Larry and I out immensely in keeping great content coming to Paraflix for you guys to see. And, for us to be able to shoot our documentaries. And we've also, at one of the tiers, Larry and I are going to do a podcast for Patreon subscribers only. And depending on where they're at in the tier system, they'll be able to participate with us. So it's something that we kicked off, and we're looking forward to it.
Right.
And not to mention, we finally are going to be starting a merch store.
Yes.
When you don't know how many people ask us, where do I get the hat with the orange circle and the cross? You're all finally going to be able to get that hat with the orange circle and the cross.
Yes. Yeah. I'm surprised you're not wearing your hat that we got.
Nah, I have an awfully hard time going away from this Cubs hat.
I know.
So
it's okay. My favorite hat's the Holoflex hat, so that's why I'm wearing it.
Yeah. No, we've got some Ghost Hunter Dan hats, and which are actually Expedition Entity hats now. But now it's going to be no doubt that it's going to be, our logo that Larry and I designed together, and it'll say Expedition Entity right across it. So it kind of pays homage to the Ghost Hunter Dan days.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely, Expedition Entity through and through. So
Len, I went and sent you a bunch of photos in Messenger for you to download.
But
okay,
I'll tell you what, Len,
I'll process that later. Oh, yes.
No, I was going to say, I'll tell you what, the last 3 years have been interesting.
Well, they have
definitely been interesting.
When Dan and I first revitalized Expedition Entity, because it was originally a YouTube series.
Yes.
It was right in the beginning of the pandemic. So, there was no telling where you could go, who you could go with, how far apart you had to be. Like, it was all so chaotic and well, everybody knows they lived it. So we're trying to make this show, and it's just like, what do we do? And finally, we're just like, you got the shot, I got the shot. Do you feel sick? I don't feel sick. Let's go film. And it worked. It worked for the two of us to go and do that. But it's hard making a show with just two people. So in season 2, we brought Steve back. Steve was an original member of the team for the YouTube days. And, by then COVID was a little bit easier to work with. And now we've got Jen and Laura, and, we've got this awesome Paraflix family who are all like, we got to do something. We got to collab. We got to cross promote. So, I would have never thought that we'd get to this 3 years ago.
No.
There's no way, but somehow we did.
Well, and the big thing, Len, is I have friends that I went to school with. I graduated back in the 80s, and they message me here and there, and you're going to be too big for us and not want to come home. As I still live in the town that I grew up in. I was born here. I was raised here.
Mm-hmm.
And, no matter where Larry and I ever take Expedition Entity, no matter where it lands us, it could land us in LA. It may not ever land us any farther than where we're at. But you know what? I'm never going to forget where I came from, and I'm never going to be anybody but who I am. I don't believe in fake personas, and and most people that meet Larry and I will tell us the one thing that stands out is it's so funny that you guys are exactly the same as you are in front of an Expedition Entity as you are standing here.
The only thing different about me is just the filter. That's it.
Right.
Normally I have a lot more profanity that you don't see like on a show like this or on Expedition Entity, but in person, right. it slips out a lot more. A lot more.
Yeah. I mean, in the heat of the moment or something really unsettling happens, you're going to hear that stuff fly. And thankfully, Paraflix, Natalie believes in letting it go as it goes.
You just put a language warning on it. That's it.
We put a language warning on it, and
it's so nice
because
to work with them.
Well, and Natalie's belief
is you saw that at the
Yep.
Yeah.
That means I can say shit. Oh.
Wow. I'm going to keep it clean because
I said it.
Because I work in a jail and I hear all that potty mouth stuff. I hear all that potty mouth stuff all the time. So.
Yeah, I bet you do. Dan, do me being an older guy, even compared to you. I was 56. I went to high school in the early 70s. In fact, that's when I started high school, was 1970. I have lost a lot of, even though I'm only 66, a lot of my friends passed. Several didn't even make 60. Others past 60, and which is kind of sad. Stay in track with your old friends. Be yourself. Don't let any of this change. Keep track of your old friends, because personal experience, you never know how long they're going to be around. Keep in touch. Stay close to your old friends, because you could lose them any day.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, again, personal experience, if you lose them without keeping track of what they're doing and how they're feeling, you will regret it.
Oh yeah. Well, Larry and I were just talking. Larry served in Afghanistan and served in the United States Army. And he's lost friends, and he's lost friends since he's been back. And before I was a corrections officer, I was a firefighter and a paramedic, and I just lost a brother firefighter just 4 days ago. That I've known Kenny since I was 14 years old. So his wife and I, as a matter of fact, graduated high school together. So it's pretty hard pill to swallow. And I've watched and buried other fellow firefighters, so I know exactly where Larry's coming from when he has to go and stand there and salute those guys, because I've had to do the same thing, and it really, really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, it does.
Len, the thing is when people look back at people's lives when they're no longer with us, wow, he sure did a lot in his life, and he sure had a lot of success, and oftentimes that's measured by an amount of money they made or whatever. I like to measure success by the amount of people that miss you when you're no longer here. And if a lot of people miss you and feel that hole that you leave when you're no longer with them, I think that's much more successful than the millions and millions of dollars that some people mark success with. If that's being successful, I'd rather just remain right where I'm at and have the real friends that I've made continue to be real friends.
You ever see the movie Big Fish?
And I'm okay with that. What's that, Larry?
Do you ever see the movie Big Fish?
I have not, actually.
It's got Ed Asner and Ewan McGregor.
No.
Really, really, really good movie. But at the end of the movie, there's a big funeral scene, and it's this little small town church, and there's hundreds of people. If I'm successful, that's what my funeral needs to look like. Because otherwise, it doesn't matter. All that matters is the amount of people that show up when you're gone.
Well, my grandfather was one of the most successful people then, because I remember I was a sophomore in high school when he died, and when we were standing there by his casket as people were filing by, the funeral home had to open an hour early, and they stayed open 2 hours later, and we still didn't get to see everybody who was there.
Sure. It's not the money you made, it's the legacy you leave behind.
It's who misses you when you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you got to be real.
And that's one reason, Dan, that I still remember. Yeah, remember Richard Crowe.
Yep. Well, I mean, when
he's been dead
lost
about 9 years now, almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we're losing so many people left and right. I mean, celebrities. We're losing people in the paranormal. We're losing old friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the older I get, I guess, we have kind of talked about it, and people kind of know now. I had a health scare here not long ago, and Larry and I had some serious talks of what was going to happen. And
unfortunately, when you're a business, you can't just be like, well, we'll see. You got to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, plan D.
I had 3 plans, and one of them was I told Larry, I said, well, if it's bad and, they're giving me an amount of time, I ain't dying at that fucking jail. I said, you and I will go out and we will travel everywhere we can, and we are going to shoot every freaking thing we can before I die. Now, thankfully, it's not happening that way, but we weren't too sure there for a little bit. So,
Yeah, I remember that. I was deeply concerned for you, Dan. I did not want to lose you. I've lost plenty of friends already. I did not want to lose another one. Thank you for surviving.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, Len, it's so funny because that wasn't very long ago, and you contacted me out of the blue. You said, Dan, are you okay? And I think I said, yeah, I've got a little thing going on here, and you said, well, if you ever need to talk. It was so funny how many people that I hadn't talked to in a while or whatever had contacted me because they just knew something was wrong. It's strange, very strange. Strange how the world works, especially in this community. You know, the paranormal community can be great.
Yes, it is.
And it can also be negative. But when you have the positives and you have people that truly you find out give a crap about what happens to you, contact you out of the blue, it makes you, it makes you feel that you do have some significance in the universe somewhere.
Mhm.
And I appreciate everybody who reached out to me. So, um, I was gonna totally focus on my family and what Larry could film to leave my legacy behind if that's what God's plan was. So thankfully, he's given me another hand to play. So we're gonna play it to the best of our ability until I can't play it no more.
Which means we got a lot of work ahead of us.
There you go.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And Larry, I got a question.
Sure.
Yep.
I don't know if you heard that, Larry, but I asked you if you were in the Army, right?
I was in the Army for 10 years. I was a 74 Delta chemical operations specialist. And we did weapons of mass destruction responses, mass casualty decon, search and extraction, stuff like that. Yep. And then deployed for a year. So
okay.
No weapons of
Did
mass
you
destruction
ever
on deployment, just regular stuff.
Did you ever go through? Good thing too. Did you ever go through Fort Benning, Georgia?
Benning, no. I spent quite a long time at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And then my unit went to Fort McCoy in Wisconsin quite a bit. And then our pre-mob was North Carolina. That's Bragg. We went to Bragg. So spent most of my time in Missouri, unfortunately.
The reason I ask about Fort Benning is because that's where I'm from. It's Columbus, Georgia, which of course is right next door to Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been to Benning. I haven't been to Relaxin' Jackson. Yeah, there's a lot I've never went to. Unfortunately, the Chemical Corps is primarily out of Leonard Wood, Missouri. So I spent a lot of time there, a lot of time in Wisconsin at McCoy, and then a little bit of time at Bragg, and then quite a bit of time in Afghanistan, and then I retired. So
okay. Yes. Actually, at Fort Benning, I was a member of AUSA, which is the Association of the U.S. Army.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up getting instruction on how to adjust, use, and fire the gun on a Bradley.
Really?
And a Striker.
What were they using a 240 Bravo
yes,
on there?
I am.
Or was it a 50 cal?
Pardon me?
Were they using a 240
the main
Bravo?
gun on a?
Oh, okay.
What they call it, the main gun, the Bushmaster, I believe it's called.
Mm. Okay. We had strikers for like
both of them, the Striker and the Bradley.
Yeah, we had strikers for like 5 minutes, and then they took them away from us. So for a brief moment, we had them, and then they're just like, no. We're gonna give you back your Humvees, and we're like, damn it, we were so close. But on my deployment, we had MRAPs, which the MRAPs you can seal up, and those are chemically protected to where like the filter system can mostly protect you.
Right.
The doors, the hatch is all sealed in just a way to where you're protected from a chemical environment. So we did get the MRAP, which is like a souped up military semi on steroids. So I did get that one. That one was fun. I could drive that entire truck with my pinky because it's all air pressurized.
Okay.
It's funny to.
What do you think about us? What do you think about Abrams and Stryker and Bradley's going over to Eastern Europe now? In Ukraine.
There's good and bad things about it. Obviously, Ukraine could use more assistance. Yes. The bad thing is, in the event that they're knocked out, Ukraine isn't very far from Russia, and it wouldn't be very difficult for them to just pull it back to Russia. So, I would rather them just find a way to just end this BS and just be like, listen, this is dumb. We're going to stop this. And let's not escalate things any further than it already has been. Because trust me, when you're on the ground in the middle of war, it's all pointless. It's just a bunch of dudes in suits. That's it.
Yes.
Just a bunch of dudes in suits and they're mad at each other.
Yes.
The guys on the ground, they're like, I don't want to be here. This is dumb.
Mm-hmm. What I'm afraid of is you get the Leopard, you get the Challenger, and you get the Abrams supported by Strykers and Bradleys in a place. I'm afraid Putin is going to consider, okay, I'm backed in a corner and drop a tactical on them.
Yeah. That's a lot of tough situations. Unfortunately,
yes,
there's so much goes into it. Who knows? Dan and I have talked about this several times. You know, the world could end tomorrow, but for us that are at home just living our lives, like it's not going to change anything until it happens. So if you worry about it, you're just going to stress yourself out. And even when it happens, like you're probably not going to feel it if it happens. Luckily, you're just going to get vaporized, or a bunch of stuff will fall on you and you get squished. Or if you do survive it, then worry about it.
Yes.
At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, and that's my problem. Where I live, far south of where any kind of nuclear exchange would happen, we'd survive the initial attacks here. It's the fallout and most wildlife and most crops being killed and dying of starvation. That would be my problem.
Sure.
Luckily, where we're at, if Chicago were to be hit, I would probably be in the blast radius, so I wouldn't feel it. That I'd be gone. Dan is pretty far outside of Chicago, so he wouldn't be in the blast radius. But Dan is also southwest, and the jet stream pulls northeast, so all the fallout would go away from Dan. So he'd probably survive. Dan would have to keep this show going without me.
if they hit anything close, I'm going to put on some sunglasses and wait for that heat flash.
You should put some sunscreen on too. SPF 1000.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to say, here I am. Make me a spot.
What was that? 2000 or 3000? It was blue color, and you look like a Smurf with it on.
I remember that. Yeah.
I forgot what movie that was in.
I can't.
Okay, enough of that subject. That's scary and
yeah,
I can't think of it either.
That's
movie trivia.
Super scary stuff. Super scary.
Yes.
You know, the last thing I'll say about it is
ghosts and goblins.
Yeah. Our world leaders just
okay.
Our world leaders just you know, it's just like the movie War Games, the best move's not to play, but I guess they forgot about it, so now they got to play it out. Whatever. We'll be the victims, not them. So,
Right.
but I can guarantee you one thing, Len. If I die
They'll
because
be
of
in their
nuclear
chair,
holocaust, I'm going to
cramped and
haunt
bunker.
every one of them.
Not me.
I'm going to haunt them all.
Not me. I want nothing to do with a bunch of suits.
I do. I'm gonna hide all their drinks every chance I get and knock shit over on them.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Well, the best thing you do to the surviving leaders is when they get up, because these are mostly older guys, and trust me, when you get older, about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, after about 5 or 6 hours sleep, you're going to go pee. So when they get up and go pee, just be standing at the foot of the bed and say hi. That's all you got to do.
Just appear in the mirror behind them.
Yep. I'm going to haunt him just like old Jacob Marley did to Scrooge.
Yeah. Grab a chain and just start jingling it.
Yep. I'm going to say, Mr. President, your chain is heavy. So. But
you know, we're talking about the hauntings and presidents. That's my bucket list. It'll never happen, but I would love to spend a couple of nights in the White House with my paranormal equipment. I would love that.
It's not directly related to a president, but me and Dan did talk to President Grant's daughter with dowsing rods.
Yeah, we did.
So ours is like president adjacent.
Oh, really?
She's buried in Springfield, Illinois.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We actually did make a video talking to her. We just never put it up.
It was a very short conversation, and there was a maintenance guy mowing the grass near us, so it was just brrr in the background. But
the cool thing about when we went to Springfield, Len, was being that Larry and I wrote the book on the Black Hawk War, is that we were able to make contact with Ninian Edwards, who was the first governor of the state of Illinois. And, he was the governor that was in charge before Governor Reynolds took over. And Larry and I flat blank asked him, if you would have maintained being the governor, would you have done something different? Which he indicated he would. And we said, did Black Hawk have a grievance? Did he have a reason to come back over? And he agreed. Yeah, he did. There probably would not have been a war had he stayed in the governorship, according to the answers we got. So it was a really cool trip. I can't wait to go back to Springfield. So, lots of history there.
I have never been there, and now I probably never will. So Springfield, I will have to watch you, Dan. I hope you get back there, because personally, I just love to see the video of you being there.
Well, we have videos up on our YouTube. When we were doing, we did some dowsing rods and some SB7 sessions down in the holding vault right below Lincoln's tomb, where they did hold him and his son's body for a short time. And then they built a tomb on the side of the hill, which held their bodies until the present tomb was buried. And President Lincoln, they sure put his remains through a lot of BS to get him where he finally ended up.
Right.
Very arduous journey for him after he was gone. And finally his son Robert, where he presently lays underneath the stone that says Abraham Lincoln, he's like 10 feet down under concrete because of all the stuff that happened. Robert Lincoln finally said, I don't want anybody ever opening my father's casket ever again and bothering his body. So put him on the bottom of the hole and dump 10 feet of cement on him. And that's what they did. President Lincoln's casket, according to the research I've done and some of the specials that have been done on it, there was a history put out one about 10 years ago. It was very well done, called the Men Who Tried to Steal Lincoln. And his casket, that poor man's casket was opened more after he died than any other president or person should. It was just terrible. I mean, this man was the president of the United States. He was assassinated and martyred, and he kept being disrespected for the next 10 years until they finally, his son had enough.
Right.
It was terrible. So now when Larry and I go back to Springfield,
country about what some people do.
I'm sorry, Len, I didn't catch you.
I just said it's a sad testimony of what some people do in this country.
Yeah.
But when y'all go back to Springfield, what you gonna do?
Well, you can't really go in and do anything in the tomb itself. You have to remain quiet. They want you to remove your hat, which you should.
It's all marble, or is it limestone? It's limestone.
No, it's marble.
Is it marble?
All marble. It's all marble and granite. Yeah.
So all the marble and granite inside means that every sound echoes, and it's a loud echo.
Yeah, it's all polished. But even so, Larry and I, we did a little Q&A right there at the president's tomb, right in front of his gravestone, and we pointed out where Mary Todd is buried, and Tad and Willie. The only Lincoln child that's not buried there is Robert, and he is actually buried out in Arlington Cemetery. But if you walk around to the back of the tomb, there's a big glass door there, and it says Lincoln.
Right.
And literally, the president is literally sitting 6 feet behind there and 10 feet down. So, I think we're going to probably do a dowsing rod session right at the back of the tomb and see if we can talk to the president.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine he wouldn't be down there hanging out. I imagine he'd be up top. So,
yeah. I honestly don't think the president's stuck here. And I base that answer on all the, Len, Larry and I have been out doing a lot of dowsing rod stuff, doing a lot of different stuff. And it's kind of funny how the spirits always tell us we came back because you asked us to.
Right. Yeah.
Because one of my first questions, are you stuck here? No. Did you come here because we asked you to by name? Yes. And then they go back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, simple as that.
It's amazing, And that's what Ninian Edwards told us, the same thing. If you watch the video, I said, Governor Edwards, are you stuck here? No. Mm-hmm. Did you come back because I asked you to? Yes. And I think I said something along the lines of, and you'll go back there when we're done speaking. And he's, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of theories, and there's a lot of people who don't believe, and I don't know. We've caught things on those dowsing rods that have been used for well over 200 years to find water and gold, and lo and behold, we can talk to spirits with them, and they seem to do wonderfully with them. You know, I had a guy just the other week, Len, saw me somewhere. I was wearing my Ghost Hunter Dan hat, and he, oh, you believe in that stuff? I said, hey, I'm not here to make the skeptic a believer, a believer a skeptic. If you want to watch us and believe, do it. And if you don't. I mean, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, of course, I would rather they had an open mind and listen to all of us collectively.
I actually love
in the
being around
paranormal community.
skeptics.
Yeah.
So, but
skeptics are fun during an investigation because you can see their mind the gears starting to turn and say, are these people? And I've actually seen some of them change their mind, both in Chicago and down in New Orleans, where I've dealt with skeptics before.
I've got no problem with
fun.
skeptics. I've got no problem with hard believers. The thing that bugs me is when you show up a skeptic and then something happens and you can't explain it, and you go, wow, I really don't have an explanation for that. I think that might actually be paranormal. And then you get home, and then the very next day you start talking about how everything's not real and the paranormal is a scam. And it's like, you were just there yesterday. You just said, wow, I don't know how to explain that. That's definitely not fake. And then you just call the paranormal fake again.
I like Len. I really like when I'm holding the dowsing rods, and Larry always keeps that camera on me so that you can see I'm not manipulating them.
Yeah.
And inevitably somebody always goes, you're moving your thumb or something. So I'll hand them the rods.
It's micro muscle tremors.
Yeah. I'll hand them the rods and say, okay, micro muscle tremor them to the way you want them to answer. And they'll just sit there and
you
spin
go
around.
And then you go, you're moving your hand. You're moving your hand.
Yeah.
You're moving your hand.
So whatever. Like I said, you'll either believe or you won't. I know what we're experiencing, and I know it's real. So, there's a thing that Larry and I have been talking about a lot lately, and we talked about it with Jenny, our new cast member, the other night, and that is life is perception. And if you and Larry and I all experienced the same event, your take, Larry's take, and my take would all be three separate takes on what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
But not any of them are a lie, because it happened the way I perceived it. It happened the way you perceived it, and it happened the way Larry perceived it.
Right.
Doesn't mean any of us are lying. It just means that's the way it happened, and that's the way we processed and perceived it.
And that's why it's very important to investigate people you trust.
Right.
And a good example of that is when Dan and I first got together investigating, we did a fan ghost hunt or public ghost hunt, and we were at a cemetery, and a ghost walked in between Dan and I, and he saw it and I didn't. And I believe that he saw it because I trust that he wouldn't make that up. But if it was anybody else that I've never met before, I'd be like, did you see it?
Well, the important thing to add to that is we had like 25 fans. Half the fans also saw it, and the other half did not. So, yeah, it was definitely, that was a strange one.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Len, is every time I've ever seen a ghost, they do not look like an apparition, and they do not like, I mean, I've seen shadow figures and stuff, but anytime I've actually seen a ghost, or what I believe is a ghost, they've always looked like an actual person. They've never, ever looked like an apparition or some misty shape. It's always been an actual person that I've looked at and made eye contact with. So strange, very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I have personally seen a variety. I've seen shadow figures. I've seen mist. I've seen what I call a heat signature, where you see the wavering of the air that we all can see if the light is just right, where there's a temperature change in a human shape. Now, if it's random and it's kind of all over, that's just a heat difference in the atmosphere.
Sure.
Right.
But when it's human shaped, I believe you're looking at a spirit, because it's not going to form a human shape naturally.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But I have it, Dan, a solid figure that I thought was human, and I quizzed everybody on the lot. I said, "Were you just here?" No, I was not here. There was one point I'm thinking about. There was 3 people. One was in an adjacent bedroom asleep. One was in a truck sitting behind behind the wheel in a pickup truck, front yard, and I'm staring at somebody else in the backyard. And everybody swears to me there was not another person there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy,
But
and you know,
Mhm.
people just need to realize, and some of them need to accept that there's just some things you can't explain.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
I got into
Exactly.
the paranormal to disprove a bunch of stuff, and in the beginning I could find a reason for everything. And now I'm just like, yeah, it could be that. But it's not, because we were listening to that the whole time. Or yeah, it could be that, but there's not a person there. But we saw a person there. What
You
was
know,
it?
one of the things that I've always said for the past 10 years, if you close your mind off to the possibility, you greatly decrease the probability that you'll ever experience anything. So
Right.
keep an open mind. And if you can't keep an open mind, then you shouldn't probably be going on ghost hunts, because, you know, especially the fan ghost hunts or the paid ghost hunts, or, you know, the ghost walks or whatever, because the other 20, 30 people there didn't pay to hear you be Debbie Downer and Negative Nancy all night long. So why are you even there? Nobody thinks it's cute to have you back in the background yakking your mouth. Just don't even go there. But you got them, and they're going to go there because, you know, well, I bought my ticket. I can stand here and be an asshole.
Mhm.
Somebody can also hit you in the, you know, give you the Nancy Kerrigan treatment too, because they paid for their ticket too. So
I hate to do this to you guys, but it's almost midnight and I'm starting to get tired. It's a very hard week when you have to go to school. You got to go to master's class, your graduate classes, and then teach classes, and then do all the other stuff we do. So I'm starting to get tired by midnight now.
It's the world's smallest violin.
Larry, we can go ahead and we got almost 2 hours, and that's fine with me. The length is fine. The information you've put up is fantastic. I appreciate both of you being here. And Larry, I wish you good luck and all success in getting your master's degree.
Thank you so much. I'm at the end of May. I'll be halfway, so 2 more semesters after that, and I'll be done. No more school for me. And I finished. I don't want anything else.
What's the degree in?
It's a master's in communication studies with an emphasis in media production. So my school doesn't have a master's in fine arts. So they took all the media, the film production stuff, and put it under the communications degree. So right now I'm doing more teaching than I am producing stuff for the school, but that's fine by me because I produce my own stuff outside of school. There aren't very many media students that do that already, so I'm good. I had to do a documentary last year in the fall, and trying to do that, and then everything else we're doing, it's just like I've got too many things. I can't juggle it all. So,
well, Larry, you got to watch having too many irons in the fire. That's another
Dan tells me that all the time.
Life experience I can give you.
Yep.
Life goes
and
by
Dan,
pretty
you want to
fast.
tell them one more time? Paraflix.
Yes, you can catch Expedition Entity only on Paraflix, Paraflix.
Website's ticking below you right now.
Yep, it's scrolling below us, and you can catch us on Fire Stick, Roku, or Apple TV. And guys, $3.99 a month. I mean, you know, there's a lot of great shows on there. Not
right.
You know, I'm not just saying it because we're there. There's a lot of great shows there, and there's a lot of great new shows there that, you know, there's something for everybody there. You know, you may look at our show and say, it looks okay, but I don't like it. But there's so many other people with so many different other styles doing their thing and doing it well. And like I said, once again, I can't thank Natalie enough for giving us the chance that she's given us and all the other people that she's given a chance to, because she's building a family and it shows.
Right. So. You want to talk about where else they can find us?
You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok, although not very often. You can find us on
Patreon.
YouTube, but especially Patreon. And Larry, you need to share that link before you get out of here.
There's nowhere to share it to.
You can pop it right into the comments there.
That's our chat.
Oh, sorry. Well, anyway, you can catch us on Patreon and for all you guys,
Patreon.com/Expedition Entity.
And for all you guys who've been asking about the merch, it's coming soon. So Larry's getting our logos set the way they need to and the vector images done.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as that shop opens, we will let you know.
Yep, we'll have a message out on Facebook and whatnot.
Absolutely. So,
well, I really appreciate y'all being on the show tonight. On behalf of all our watchers, I'm sure they appreciated watching if anybody missed it and you go back and watch the beginning of the show where we saw an exclusive trailer on one of the shows. That was fantastic. Thank you for that. So I just want to thank you both. And maybe we'll have you on later this year. Maybe up into November or December. So October. We're probably going to be very busy for all three of us.
The fall is a very busy season for us ghost hunters.
It is. But we would be more than happy to, Len.
Yep.
We'd be more than happy to.
Agreed.
So thank you so much for having us, sir.
Like I said, I appreciate y'all being here. We're friends. We'll be around and talking with each other. If you got something you want to say, if you just want to talk, give me a buzz. I'd be happy to, get up a Zoom call or something. If you just want to talk about stuff bugging you, I'm always there for both of you.
Appreciate that.
We appreciate it, and likewise.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all have a great night.
You too, Len. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you. Bye-bye. All right. right, everybody. That's going to be our show tonight. We're going to wrap it up after hours, enough, and we're running right at 2 hours right now. I got started a little late. I got hour 55. I think that's enough show tonight. I want to thank our guests, Larry Esther and Dan Norvell. We will be having guests. I am locking up guests almost as we speak. Not quite, but it looks like I'm going to be booked for a little bit. And so we will have more guests later on the next few weeks. So I will be having live shows, and it will not be just me. It will be interviews and a little bit of fun, and maybe show some more videos like we had tonight. Thank you again to Larry and Dan. All right, we're going to get on out of here. See if there's anything else I need to cover. This is the broadband. Okay, that's that, and we of course end the show with a I go off the air. Okay, anyway, Len Norman, Southern Fried Paranormal, for Bones and Slim. I wish you good night, good luck, have a great night, and just remember, the paranormal never sleeps. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching our show. Be sure to tune in to next week as once again we journey way down south into Bayou Country for another heaping portion of Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman and Bones. Make sure to like, share, and follow. Y'all come back now. You hear?